Hello, and welcome to your first episode of Royal Mystic Collective Wisdom. This is the energy of continuation where I have only a limited amount of time to do the readings, and I wanted to just be able to spend a little extra time speaking to you all as a group. And as someone who has gone through the transition of acceptance of my gifts and hopefully to encourage others to do the same. It is always a little bit of a freaky situation. I have many friends who have come to me in desperation of trying to understand what's happening. And it's always a little different. Everybody's gift is so different. And I just want you to accept who you are and what you have to offer. There's no real I don't think there's a guide. I've never seen a guide out there to other than the higher source guides. There's nothing written in stone on how it's to be. The first thing I want to talk about in this episode is the feeling of uncertainty and fear, overcoming the obstacles of self doubt and the judgment of others. It's very hard when you first step out, and it doesn't have to be anything spiritual. This is for anyone who is doing something different, who wants to step out into their destiny and do what's being called upon them to do. And when I say being called, you know who you are, because this is something that's so compelling. It's exciting when you realize that there's something to it. Whatever your dream is, whatever your goal is in life, um, this all relates. The ability to step into the unknown and to go for it is very difficult to overcome that need to want to be accepted right away or to be perfect right away. So I'm doing this particular podcast in order to allow you, if you need permission, I'm giving it to you. This is where we all stand together in our ability to create the divine thing through our own hand, to allow ourselves to be part of what we're called here to do in this lifetime and to help others as well. So, in the spirit in which it was given to me, I give to you the energy of excitement and the nuances of experience that I have gleaned from all of the things that I have done. This is just one more step in the direction of the unknown for me. So it's not something I want you to be afraid of. It's something I want you to embrace, because the hardest thing is when you feel like no one else understands what you're going through or what's happening. And it also feels a little crazy. You feel like, oh my God, how can I do something? It's like drawing outside the lines, right? Stepping outside of the comfort zone. This is not for everybody. It's not for the faint of heart. If you can't find yourself in a position where you can leverage that and move forward, then you're not ready. But don't give up. Continue to learn, continue to grow. Some people need more time to feel more stable. I believe that's why training wheels were invented for bicycles. I had those myself. We all grow past them. So still just whatever speed you feel compelled to move in, is it's up to you. And that's another reason why I'm doing this podcast, because I want you to know whatever your method is, whatever your goal is, and whatever your source of inspiration is, it's there for you for a reason. It's supposed to be unique and not like anyone else's. It'll be similar, and we'll talk to some people. We'll be having some interviews. I'm lining up those. This I just wanted to get this particular first little launch out because I promised I would, and I'm kind of forcing my hand. I was backpedaling the whole time trying to figure out, should I do this right now? I don't know if I should do it. I'm doing all these other readings today, but I stopped, and I am committed to doing it, because if I do this, if I step in, I'll be fine. And that's what I want you to understand. You don't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be something that you're an expert at. This is my very first podcast. I'm recording it on just a regular audio recording device, and I'm uploading it for you to listen to. So if nothing else comes from this particular reading, I want to give you courage. I want to give you courage to be unique and be yourself, because this is what makes you special. Your unique voice will chime through to the people like you. And there's nothing more empowering than finding your tribe. And I want to encourage all of you to do this. And we are, and my, if you're listening to my podcast right now, that means you're part of my vibe tribe, because you guys are the only ones who know I'm out here doing this right now. And I cannot thank you enough for the nameless people. I can't name you because you have your own little, screen names and stuff. And for the people who encouraged me when I was barely getting started, who would give me information I need. It's always helpful. And I thank you, each and every one, every little contribution of letting me know that there was a hum on the microphone line, or that I was, needed information about something astrological. I'm not an astrologist. I do my best to try to incorporate and learn as I go, but these are things I know nothing about, and I try, and I appreciate your kindness and your help, all of you. I've been helped by so many people. Many, many hands have lifted me up, and I want to be that hand that also helps others. So I'm returning the favor by putting this energy out to help encourage and allow all the people who are just waving in the wind, waiting for an opportunity. We have to understand sometimes we just have to leap, and the universe will take over from there. I'm not telling you to quit your jobs. I'm telling you, make an effort to get started, even if it's just on the basic level of doing all the groundwork and the research and setting up whatever. Most everything that you do will need a name, if whether it's a book or a business, it's always going to need that part of it. And you've got to do all the research to get all that secured so someone else doesn't have an issue with it. So do all of that. See where that gets you. Get it set up in the part where once you do have whatever else is coming behind that, whatever else you need to get together to do it, you don't want to be dealing with the logistics of it and trying to make it walk and talk at the same time. So let's let the universe guide you and be in a place of prayer and open energy to allow yourself to be given the answers to help you move forward. That's one of the things I want to encourage you about. Sometimes we get so stifled in the how, or we start to, read how, like we want to be proper. We think we need to have some kind of certification or an educational background in something. We have to have been qualified in some way. Yes, that's true. Doctors, pilots, lawyers, things like that. Yes. Other things, not so much. Creativity is a big part of it. And this is where the right brain comes in. We have to be in a place of openness and be in a place of allowing ourselves to pivot to the outside bound. You never know what you're capable of. The boundaries are very flux. You don't realize that until you're actually in it. So allow yourself to don't allow yourself to be in a place of acceptance. That's because you got to understand you're your worst critic. And that's where the fear comes from. It's not so much everyone else's energy, it's your own. And what happens is someone will say something that will trigger that fear in you, and you'll go, "Oh, they found me out. I've been discovered. I don't have have what it takes." Well, yes, you do. It's not that one person's opinion. That's the next thing we need to talk about is letting go of what other people think, especially if it's negative. We'll have 1,000 great compliments on something, and then that one person says one little offhanded thing, and that's the thing you remember. So we have to be able to ignore the critics and allow yourself to be in the energy of understanding. So if they give a valid point, look it over and see if it's valid. If it's not, dismiss it. It's just lots of people out there that want to throw rocks at you because you're brave enough to actually step out there and you create a target for them because they're too scared to do it. So they're trying to tear you down. Don't allow yourself to be in that position. Be in a place of absolute consistency. And this is the real ticket. If you have your energy lined up in the going forward mode and you are moving and shaking and doing and creating and being, that's where your energy stands. And you don't have to be in a place of doubt because you're actually in the process of doing it. And I can't tell you how many times I have recorded a reading and thought, oh, that was so blah. I don't even remember what I said because I'm in the flow. This is about, using my psychic energy to do this. So I don't always remember the reading, and then I'll go back and listen to it because I'm thinking, do I need to re-record it? And I listen to it and it's fine. It's absolutely perfect. But right after I've done it, I'm doubting and I'm questioning and I'm, insecure about what it is because I'm not in control of it. It's harder to be sure that it's right. So it took a long time before I actually got to the point where I just let it go. I just do it and put it out there because it came through whole and finished when I did it. So um, who am I to judge it? This is part of that whole thing. So allowing yourself to be in a place of almost devil may care. Okay. And some of the wisdom that I've gotten from this is if you risk nothing, it's not really an accomplishment. So you do have to put yourself out there and you have to be in a place of being okay with that. And even if you can't bring yourself to take the leap right off the bat, do the small things. Like I said, the small things build you up into the ability to move forward. So that's my encouraging remarks for the beginning of this little message, and now we'll go into a little bit more of understanding. So in tarot, one of the main things I learned was absolute trust in divine, because the messages come through very clear, and you guys see me do these public readings and they're great. But if you ever have a private reading with me, I'm not, it's not like I'm going into a trance and doing the energy, but it's coming through that way. So there are times when I get, messages, words come in, people come in, actual events come in, and there's things that I don't have any idea what I'm talking about. And I just have to trust that I say this and this is what, this is what I see, or this is what they've shown me. And it's been accurate. So what I learned from that is I'm just the amplifier. I'm the speaker that they've plugged into that's allowing the conversation to happen. And my technique is a different technique than some people's. I build in by talking to you about everyday things when we first begin to talk on the phone or on the video. I allow myself to get comfortable, because once I start talking and allow myself to get comfortable, then I can relax into the energy. Other people have a different process, and I don't want you to doubt your process, is what I'm saying. What works for me may not work for you, and that's okay. It doesn't mean you're wrong. It doesn't mean I'm wrong. We're individual. We have different tastes in music. We have different tastes in food. There's no difference in that. Why we wouldn't have different abilities. So I want you to be open to what has been presented to you. Start a dream journal. One of the things that's really important is to keep something by your bed, by your toilet, in your car, in the kitchen, everywhere you are. You need to have something to be able to write down ideas or things that flash, and you'll start to pay more attention to them. They don't happen as much when we've been ignoring them, but when you open up and start actually following and allowing that energy, it gets stronger and the messages get clearer. Also, one of the things that I highly recommend if you ever feel stumped or stuck is to do some free writing. I cannot recommend this enough. It is absolutely allowing yourself to just channel. And what you do is you meditate first, and then you get a notebook you got to be able to turn the pages easily. So you don't want a hardback binded book. You want something where it's either spiral bound or a yellow pad that you can just flip the pages upwards. This is important. Now, yes, you can use a computer if you want. The reason why it's important for your tactile feedback is to be able to channel freely and use your words, just letting it flow. So the process is you allow yourself to meditate for however long you need to. And then when you're in that meditative state, pick your pen up or your pencil, whatever you prefer, and just start rocking your hand up and down it's like your hand is holding the pen and you're just wagging your hand top to bottom. And then you allow their hand just to get into a rhythm of that, and then you put it on the paper, and then you just start scribbling, and pretty soon you're going to start writing. Now, what I do is I turn my face away, or I do it in the darkness, so that I'm not judging my writing. It's very important that you don't try to edit and don't try to interfere with the thoughts. Just allow the information to pour out on the page. This is where your higher self gets its sole chance to absolutely communicate directly with you in real time. So if you allow yourself to do this, you may go on for pages and pages and pages. Don't stop until it's ready to stop. Allow yourself to purge all of that stuff out. Now, some of it may be nonsensical, and that's okay. Some of it may not make sense until later. It may be something that comes through that is fortuitous for a later date. So just allow yourself to do that. I believe that would be an excellent first exercise in allowing and being in a place of flow. And those of you who hear me talk about flow, I am a writer, a poet, a painter. I feel like I'm a full spectrum artist because anything I touch that is a creative thing, even food, that's where your flow is. That creative energy is through source, and it's for all of these things. All of these things bring you to that natural energy. So if you are in that flow, you know what I feel like when I'm in the readings, because that's what it feels like you're being carried off into another time and dimension, which is also another funny thing, because you'll hear me say the wrong dates and things on the readings because my sense of time is gone when I'm in the flow. So I have to literally post a post-it note on what date I'm doing. And now I have a little flip calendar that allows me to flip the dates ahead so that I can tell myself what date I'm doing the reading for. And that's how I say it out loud online. There's a lot of little back behind the scenes things happening because I just am not anchored in time when I'm doing things. So I will also recommend that you keep a journal of your journey as you go. Allow yourself to be in a place of openness to yourself. Be honest about how you feel. Let yourself talk about your doubts. And then this will be something that you can just purge all of the things that are kind of obstacles. Naming the obstacles helps because then you know what you're going up against or what's scaring you. My main obstacles were being afraid of letting go of a paying job because I had a 9-to-5 job that I felt was going to be my retirement job. And it was scary for me to think that, what if I let go of this job and then it all goes to, what, in a handbasket? Well, so be it. I had to try. So I didn't quit the job until I was fully able to support myself in the channel on YouTube as Royal Mystic Tarot. So that's my recommendation. Just work toward what you're doing. You don't have to up and quit anything. I was able to do both until I couldn't. And so when you get to the point, this is how you know when it's time. When you get to the point where you're losing money by going to the other job, if you're making more money at your side gig than you are on the real thing, it's time to let the real thing go and make the side gig your real gig, right? So it'll happen. That's the whole thing. It's destined to happen if you're in your actual element and doing what you're supposed to be doing. If it's time for you to be there, it's time for you to be there. Otherwise, you still have a really great time doing and learning and being. That's what I put in my mind. If I wasn't able to succeed, I was going to have a great experience. And it took off. I think that was the genuineness of my purpose. And so because I was open enough to allow myself to take that leap of faith, sometimes you just have to jump and the ground will meet you on the other side. It is important not to do it if you're going to put yourself in jeopardy. Remember, I said, let yourself do both until you can't do them both anymore. Allow yourself to build and dream, and lots of meditation goes into it because you want to be connected. That is the whole thing, is allowing yourself to be connected. And I also want to encourage anyone who has tried and failed, because if you're still interested, if you're still dreaming about it, if the idea still seems fresh to you and gets you excited and makes you feel alive, it's not something you should ignore. Find a new way, allow yourself to look at it from a very open concept, and ask. This is important. Don't forget, this is always important. Ask divine for the information you need to be made available to you. As you do that and you meditate on that, it will show up. It'll either show up right in front of your face, something will show up in your inbox, on your emails, someone will reach out to you, a book will suddenly appear. It always happens that way. And it is very much a place of contention if you don't take in whatever's showing up for you. So I hope that this first little podcast helps to wake up that inspired energy within yourself. If I can do this, anyone can do this. And if you believe in yourself, you can do anything. It's hard when we've been told that, being a psychic is not something I was ever, I never announced that to people because it freaks people out. And I didn't want to not fit in any more than I already didn't, right? If you are part of my tribe, you probably did not fit the norm, and didn't know why. Well, it's okay, because normal is boring, right? So allow yourself to be you, and be you, be who you're supposed to be unique. Let your voice sing. It doesn't have to be like everyone else's song. You allow yourself that grace of not trying to be like everyone else, and you will succeed. So I hope this one little initial podcast helps to inspire and encourage. And I love you guys. I hope that you have a fabulous rest of your holiday weekend. And I send you many blessings, love, light, and abundance. And I'll see you again next week, or talk to you again next week, at least. Many blessings, everyone. Have a beautiful day. Namaste.